One love, God bless. Far Nelson here, and today is Sunday service where I read a random Bible scripture and then we talk about what the interpretation is to me. So, like I said, I'm gonna pick a random Bible scripture. I already have a bunch highlighted. I'm just gonna flip through and then we're gonna talk about it and reason on it. So, let's see. All right, so we're on Proverbs. All right, so there's just a couple things highlighted. I didn't really highlight much on these 2 pages. That's why I paused. But so we'll get into them and then we'll reason on them and see why the Most High presented these to us. Because this message isn't for just me, it's for you if you're watching this. Because like I said, this is completely random. And yeah, it's all to destiny. So, So what I have highlighted is Proverbs 20, verse 13, love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. And then if we go to 21, verse 9, it said, it is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. The man, and then we jump to 16, Proverbs 21:16, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. He that loveth pleasure shall be poor, shall be a poor man. Sorry, let me just redo that. He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. So I know I jumped around, but there's a reason I feel that we were called to look at these highlights from Proverbs 20 and 21. So let's start with 20. Love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. So love not sleep. Love not laziness. Love not staying in a state of the world, honestly. Love not sleep is not only love not laziness and love not, getting up and doing your work, and it's not saying just love not sleeping in all day and wasting the day and being a lazy bum. This is not only what it holds to me that it's saying. Love not sleep is love not unconsciousness, love not unawareness, love not thirst for knowledge. We should always be learning. We should always have a thirst to do more, to act more than we do just stay asleep, more than we stay into the ways of society, as they say, and the ways of Babylon. We should always want to awaken to the truth of the world. We should always want to see the blessings and help enact with divine action so that these blessings come to us tenfold, and it's not about the blessings, but it's about just living in that divine path, and it's about knowing what a path that's going to lead to true serenity, because really the blessing is just having peace mentally, physically, and spiritually. And that is what you have when you are awake, when you are no longer asleep and thinking that the world is constantly against you, that everything in your life is terrible and you have no control over anything and you're just at mercy of the world. When we awake and realize that there's a righteous path that we can take, a righteous path that we can think, a righteous way that we can, go about our entire life and existence, and we can see that our life is blessed, then more blessings come when we awaken to our true nature, when we awaken to the trueness of the universe. So love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. So love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. So that's as well in the physical and the spiritual. If you love to sleep, you ain't gonna get no work done. You're gonna be not making enough money to truly satisfy your needs, truly satisfy your kids' needs, truly satisfy your family's needs. You're just gonna be making bare minimum. You're gonna be doing the minimum wage thing because you're a minimum effort type of person. When you love sleep, you don't love effort. You love to relax. You love to chill. You love to just say, hey, I'm just gonna watch TV all day and not do anything. So love not sleep. At least you come to poverty. It says you will come to poverty if you are lazy, if you love sleep. And then it also means if you are mentally asleep, then you will always be living in lack. You will always be living in limits. You won't have a limitless life. You will have a life full of limits, full of all these barriers that you keep on telling yourself and that keep on showing up in your life because you're not waking up to the true blessings of your life, to the trueness of your divine source within and throughout you. So we have to wake up to our spiritual being, to our spiritual oneness with the divine source and how we're supposed to be acting throughout this entire universe. Not as someone who's pushing hate, not as someone who's pushing greed, not as someone who's pushing oppression on others, but someone who's pushing love, abundance, joy, and divine wisdom. So, love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. Open thine eyes. Open thine eyes. Get to work. Open thine eyes. Go ahead. Realize that there's things to be done. And do those things. And you will be satisfied with bread. You will be paid for your effort. You will be paid for your work. You will be glorified by the Most High. You will be blessed by the Most High. Mentally, spiritually and physically. Open your eyes. Thou shalt be satisfied with bread. If you open your eyes to the reality of the world, if you open your eyes to the reality of who you truly are, a spiritual being here to walk a divine path of enlightenment and of peace, abundance, of love and joy, and of helping others. If you open your eyes, everything you could ever wish for will be brought upon you. All your needs will be met. Thou shalt be satisfied with bread. It doesn't say thou shalt be satisfied with all these different things, this and that. No, we'll be satisfied with just bread. We'll be satisfied with exactly what we have. When I speak on things of saying everything we need will come to us, all our dreams will come to reality, all our blessings will come to us. You have to realize I say these things in a way of a higher level of consciousness, in a way that we may think that we need things right now. We may think that we even want things right now. But when we come to the awareness of when these things are able to be received, we will see exactly what we actually needed and wanted from these situations. And sometimes it's not the exact physical thing. Sometimes it's not the biggest thing that you thought you were going to get. Sometimes it's not the nicest and prettiest and shiniest thing that you thought you were going to get, but it's perfectly what you needed. And lots of times people pass that over. When I was living in lack and I was eating unhealthy, I thought I always wanted or always strived and dreamed to order whatever I wanted to. When I go to a fast food place or when I walk in a store, I just buy whatever I want to and I don't have to think of the cost. But now that I finally am in a higher level of consciousness, I know that I can buy whatever I want to, but I just have discernment about what I want to buy. I know that I don't need certain things in my life. I don't need certain things in my fridge. I don't need certain things in my body, in my mind. I don't need as much as I thought I needed. So when I say dreams and blessings, you might think that I mean, this person just wants to get rich. This person just wants all these nice cars, these nice things, and this and that. No, we strive for these things to get exactly what we do need. Sometimes we have to wake up and realize that us not having what we think that we need, what we think that we want, gets us to actually realize what we truly do want and what we truly do need. It helps us get that. So, open thine eyes and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. You will be blessed more than you could ever realize. Open your eyes. Do the spiritual work. Don't be asleep. Don't just stay as one of the sheep. Open your eyes. Do the spiritual work. Do the spiritual practices to open your eyes. Do your prayers. Do your meditations. Do your knowledge building. Read your holy books. Open your eyes and you will be satisfied. All your needs will be met. Even if it's just with bread, you will be fine. If it's bread, no butter, no oil, no, slices of meat or tomatoes in the middle and some cheese, nothing. With bread, you will be satisfied because you realize you have everything you need if your eyes are open. If your eyes are truly open, you have a connection with the Most High, with the divine source, and all your needs are met. There's lots of yogis and gurus who live off very minimum of substance. They just have a little bit of tea, a little bit of water, and a little bit of rice, and just so that they can survive. But they know that what they truly survive off of is that connection with the divine source. It's not about having a huge meal or having exactly all these different things that you need and whatever. Of course, you need more nutrients in your life than just bread. But what it's about is strengthening that connection with the divine source, with the Most High, and realizing in that presence, in that awareness, you have all your needs met. No matter how small, no matter how meek, no matter how dry and untasteful to others, you are satisfied with just bread. So love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. That's Proverbs 20, verse 13. Now let's go to Proverbs 21, where I highlighted over here, verse 9. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. Okay, now let's talk about that. Proverbs 21, verse 9. Now this, I think I highlighted it honestly back then just because it was just something funny to me. It's something that's very true, but very funny as well. And it is what it is. That's exactly what it stated. It says, it is better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than with the brawling woman in a wide house. So I think that one really jumped out to me because that is so true. You don't want to bring any more trials and tribulations in your life. I think we all have this awareness that not only with women, but of any significant others, we realize how much of a mistake we have made when we bring trial and tribulation into our life, and especially into our relationships, to the point that we are happier in the corner of a housetop, of you're on the roof, you may be in the attic, and you're in the corner, the dark, dank corner, because you don't want to face the anger and the wrath of your significant other in the house, in a huge house. You could even risk being on the other side of the house, but she might walk in, or they might walk in and be ready to start an argument with you. This is very, very similar to why we do the practices we do, why we learn patience, why we learn forgiveness, why we learn the power of speech, and when we should speak and use the knowledge we have, and when we should actually just use the wisdom we have and not to speak. So we have to realize that it is better to sometimes hold our tongue instead of making a hectic situation for ourselves to the point where we don't even want to be in a wide house in this beautiful world. We'd rather be in a corner in our own secluded place than deal with the hecticness of the world. We want to set up an environment for ourselves, not only in our house, but in the world, where we are open, we are able to walk freely. Open doors and open hearts greet us everywhere that we go. You know, we want to not be someone who is feeling like they're in a corner, like they have to keep themselves hidden, like they have to keep themselves tucked away to feel peace, to feel serenity. We want to make an environment everywhere that we go a peaceful and serene one that's with the consciousness of the Most High. And sometimes that takes us meeting people where they're at, especially our significant others. We can't start friction in our home and then go hide in that housetop corner and expect that we're going to help them truthfully. We can't try to force our beliefs onto them either and think that it's going to help them. There's a perfect middle that we have to play so that we're not that person hiding in a corner, and we're also not that person not saying anything or doing anything and letting people just be confused in their own iniquity. So in our spiritual practices, especially with relationships in general, we're going to have to find that balance. And when you do, it's a beautiful process, but it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of letting things go. It takes a lot of forgiveness, because we don't want to end up to a point where we have no peace in the house, because we're already putting a lot of effort to build peace in our environment. So we want to at least have peace in the house. And sometimes that takes a lot of patience, a lot of time, a lot of discipline, and a lot of holding our tongue and knowing when to speak and when not to speak, because we don't want to end up, dwelling in the corner of a housetop with a brawling woman in a wide house. So, and that goes for every race, not every race, but every sex, woman, man, nobody wants to be in a house with somebody or even their children who are raging and ready to fight you for every little thing. So I thought that was a good one to highlight, because I just felt that was very funny and connected. Okay, then let's go to the last one. Proverbs 21, verse 16 and 17. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. So this is a powerful one. I think this is the one that the Most High, as well as the verse 20, I think this is the ones, chapter 20 as well. I think this is the one that really stuck out to me in this chapter. Is the man that wandereth out the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So, wandereth out of the way of understanding. This one kind of took me into different type of paths of thinking, where it's, did the man have a understanding before? Because he wandered out of the way of understanding. So did he have a connection with the divine source? Was he doing spiritual practices and strengthening those connections, and for some reason stumbled out of the path? And in that way, and for doing that, is that what the writing here is saying by shall remain in the congregation of the dead? Because if you make that decision, let's say you're doing all this spiritual work, you're doing all these spiritual practices, and you make the decision to just ignore everything that you learn, all the wisdom that you learned, all the strengthening and the divine truths that you learned. You just stop doing these things, and you stop taking heed to them and stop using the practices. What if you did that, right? Is that what they mean by you will remain in the congregation of the dead? Because doing something like this, doesn't even seem fathomable to me. The fact that I've been able to find these spiritual truths, to explore spiritual truths like these, I don't see myself ever going back. I don't ever see myself not meditating, for weeks and weeks and weeks. I don't ever see myself not journaling, not reading. It's not something I ever see myself do. But if I were to do these things, if I were to stop doing these things, if I were to stop living righteous, I think this is what it's saying, that you will remain in the congregation of dead. And that's something that we see as well, at least for me, for a lot of people that I have thought that I should look up to in my life, but come to a realization that it's not really looking up to, it's just looking at their path and relating to it. And I especially felt this when I found out so much about Bob Marley's path, about how he was so righteous in everything that he did, especially in his early days. Everything he did was with a righteous heart. Everything he did was for the love of the Most High. All the music that he would make was mainly praising the Most High and things like this, from the time of his consciousness, from his very early days, to then there was a middle part where he became conscious of the Rastafari way of life and of the Bible and the Lord and things like this. And then there's the later part, which is most of us known about him, when he did the Exodus and, all these different big hits. But there's a time around the time where he was doing these big hits, the Exodus and all these things, where he lost his path, he lost his way. A lot of people don't talk about this, but it's actually portrayed as well in the movie, the new movie that they have, the One Love movie. But it talks about it in a lot of his documentaries and autobiographies and stuff like this, where he gets caught up kind of with the politics of life, of the country of Jamaica and stuff like this, and he gets caught up in this societal hierarchy of shaking hands and rubbing shoulders with certain people to get up in life, and having adultery and infidelity in his relationship with Rita Marley. You can just tell that Bob Marley was really struggling at a certain part of his life. And it was after, just like it's saying, the man that wandered out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So it was after he got the understanding of the way he should live. It was after he already got so many blessings from the Most High, from living out of righteousness and out of pure love, that he was starting to sway from the path. Maybe he wasn't even reading his Bible as much anymore. Maybe he wasn't doing his prayers and his meditation as much anymore. So we have to realize that when we are blessed and when we have become so much into our understanding of the true knowledge of the world, the true knowledge of the universe and of our own divine self, we have almost a vow, a covenant with the Most High, that we are to uphold these truths. We are to uphold these laws. We are to uphold this wisdom. And it's a serious thing. And I don't mean to scare anybody or discourage anybody, but if we know what we're doing is wrong and we continue to do it, that is a bigger sin than someone who knows not that they're doing something wrong and changes it later. You understand? So to do something that you know is wrong and you do it after the Lord has already blessed you and you are in the awareness that the Lord is blessing you, then that is the biggest sin of any. And I think that's what it means by shall remain in the congregation of the dead. That when you come to a way of understanding and you turn your back on that way, you remain in the congregation of dead. This is why Bob Marley passed so early. This is why a lot of the greats, as we say, die young. Because lots of these people, especially when they're young, they will be blessed in a multitude. And then their big hits come along and they have a certain amount of success and fame that they've never had before, and a certain amount of people offering them things they've never been offered before, a certain amount of opportunities that they've never seen come into their life before. And so it's harder for them to discern from what is righteous and not, and to the point where they don't care and just are doing things that they even know are not righteous, because they're trying to satisfy the flesh, because they're trying to live up to some other people's perspective instead of the Most High. And this is what we have to remain conscious of, is that once we have this understanding, it is a gift, but it's also a covenant. It is also a direct connection with the divine source that we have been blessed with this understanding. And if we take it for granted, if we just turn our back on this new understanding, this new wisdom that we have found, then the consequences are dire. Simply put, the consequences for it are going to be serious. You can't learn and connect with the Most High. I've had these conversations with the Most High and I've been doing all this meditation, and then just go around and be like, okay, I'm just going to go back hunting animals and killing animals, or I'm going to go into the army and kill some people and think that everything is going to be okay. Or you can just have this understanding and this connection with the divine source and everything around you, and you just think you can just cheat on your significant other every single day or every single week or at all, and think that everything is going to be okay. Life doesn't work like that. There's consequences for everything. And if we have been chosen, if we have been enlightened, then our consequences are held to a higher respect, to a higher severity than others. So that's what it's saying. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So that is where you will remain. If you don't physically die, you will spiritually die in many ways. And hopefully you'll be able to do enough meditation to shed the karma that you have created from choosing a path that is out of the way of understanding. Because through meditation, we shed our karmas, we shed our past karmas, whether it's in this life or in our past life. And when we choose actions, when we know that there's actions that we should be choosing instead, it adds more karma onto us times 10. So we have to shed those through even more acts of spiritual practices, through even more prayer, through even more meditation, through even more acts of generosity and giving back. Yes. That was a deep one. That was a deep one. So let's keep going. Proverbs 21, verse 17 now. He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. So he that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. So what they mean by that? Well, to me, he that loveth pleasure means he that is always wanting. He that is always wanting to please the flesh. He that is always feeling like they need something else. He that loveth pleasure. To feed the flesh is an endless cycle, is an endless pit. When you love pleasure, when you love pleasing the flesh, when you love, getting drunk, or when you love just eating unhealthy food because it feels good, or when you love indulging in toxic behaviors and toxic entertainment and spending hours scrolling on social media. When you feed pleasure, when it would say, a man that loveth pleasure shall be poor man. When you do these things, you'll never have enough. It doesn't mean that you won't have money. It doesn't mean you won't have a nice house. It doesn't mean you won't have a nice car, but you'll never have enough. You'll always feel like you never have enough. And that is why you'll feel like a poor man. You'll feel like there's always something that you're lacking, because you're only looking to feed the next pleasure. That's the only thing you start to focus on is, oh, okay, I fed that pleasure. A day goes by, an hour goes by, 30 minutes go by. Okay, what's next? What can I get pleasure from next? What next? What next? That is the mindset we're in. Let me go on Amazon right now. So we have to realize he that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Always wanting more, never having enough, never satisfied. The real pleasure is inside. It's you in prayer, that feeling you get when you're in prayer and everything else fades away. The feeling you get when you're in meditation and everything else fades away. The feeling you get when you read and everything else fades away except for the words on this book. The feelings you get when you journal and everything else fades away except for memorizing how you felt that day and all the wisdom that you got that day. This is real life. Everything else is an illusion to make you feel like you need something. This is what falling into pleasure is. This is what being poor is. Yes, there is financial poor. There is people that are in a poor state financially, but there's a lot of also financially poor people that are the happiest, joyful, blessed people that you could ever meet. So then it says, he that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. So wine and oil. So what does that say? He that loveth wine. Let's start with there. He that loveth things that are going to please the body, drunken the body, numb the body, make the body feel disconnected from the mind, from the spirit. And oil, people who love to take things from the source of the world, because oil is coming from the depths of the world, right? He that loves oil, and what does oil also correlate with? Money. Shall not be rich. He that loveth things that make him drunk, and he that only cares about what they profit of, he that only wants to satisfy the flesh, and he that only cares about profiting, shall not be rich. If you want to be drunk, and you want to be rich, and you just want to satisfy all your needs through these ways, then you will never have enough. You will never satisfy the flesh completely. You will never satisfy your pockets completely. You would rather deplete natural resources for your capital gain than just live in harmony with nature. Live in harmony with the world and the universe. You love oil, you love wine more than where the oil comes from. You love wine, but you're drinking more wine than you are eating grapes. This is how people think. This is why they're never rich, is because they're living life backwards. You're eating rotten fruit. You're drinking rotten fruit. You're taking stuff from the planet. What type of karma is that? Who you know will say, hey, yeah, you want to take my blood from me? You want to take my bone marrow from me? Every week? Every day? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, and I don't get anything back from it. Yeah, go ahead. Do that. Who do you know would sign up for that? To get their blood taken every single day. To get their bone marrow taken out every single day. And get no type of, anything back. They don't even water the source that it came from. They don't even put plants around there, nothing. The soil, the earth is getting nothing back from us stealing the water, from us stealing the oil from its natural sources. So why would the earth not be angry at those people? Why would the karmic cycle not come back on those people? When we are living in wicked ways, only caring about profit, only caring about money, only caring about being better than the next man, this is what happens. We're basically these people who are only loving wine and oil. They shall never be rich, because they only care about satisfying their flesh and satisfying their pockets, and not how it affects others, not how it stops them from being present in life in general. When you're on wine, when you're drinking wine all day and you're in love with wine, when you're in love with pleasing the flesh, you're never satisfied in the physical where you're all right now. You're always thinking, I need to have this, or I should be having this, or I wish I had this, or I wish I had a drink right now, or I wish I had a burger right now, or I wish I had $100 million right now. You're never satisfied. You'll never actually be rich mentally, physically, and spiritually. Wow. So let's read over that one more time. I'm going to go and hop around from 20 to 21, Proverbs chapter 20, 21. So it says, love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. He that loveth pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loveth wine and oil shall not be rich. So that's some divine understanding right there. That's some divine wisdom right there. That was just my interpretation, what words came to me when I read these things. Like I said, I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to get from these things, but they turned out to be some deep wisdom, deep understanding to be unshed here. And I appreciate everybody that took the time to download this wisdom with me. So if you haven't, please subscribe, like, comment, share, and I appreciate everybody that's been doing that. And go ahead, read your Bible. A chapter a day keep the devil away. It keep the doctor away. It keep the depression away. I advise reading 3 chapters a day. It's not very hard. It's something I easily do every day, as well as read other books. But reading the Bible and not taking everything so literally, I know there's a lot of discretions and, things like this that are triggering to people in the Bible. But when you actually read it and you actually just let yourself get the knowledge that's supposed to come to you, you receive so many blessings. You receive so much wisdom. This Bible was rewritten a bunch of times. We can't be in control of how everybody has rewritten it and how every man has to make it only a man-based book and stuff like this. And there's no other races than the race that they say is in here. And there's a whole bunch of things we could look at the Bible as. But when we actually take the time to read it cover to cover, we are able to discern from what is divine wisdom and what is just, some extra fillers in there. So I advise everybody to read the Bible. Take your time to read a chapter a day, 3 chapters a day. Just take it slow until you just find the love for it. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. I'm sorry I came late today, but it's been a blessed Sunday. I got to chill by the pool, have a nice relaxing day, hang out with the dogs and, just relax and really get some good reading done, stuff like this. So have a blessed Sunday and one love.